So, picture this. Westminster Hall, 2022. A grand and emotional moment. The whole world was watching as the Queen's grandchildren stood in vigil, paying their respects to their late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. It wasn't just any family moment. It was one that was full of emotion, tradition, and the sort of pride that made even the most stoic among us tear up. And in the middle of it all, Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, was there, reflecting on her kids' roles in this historic moment. Now, Sophie's kids, Lady Louise and James, are no strangers to the public eye. They've been seen at royal events, but this was something different. This wasn't just a walk down the red carpet or a royal appearance. This was their chance to truly honor their grandmother in a way that was incredibly personal. And you can imagine, as a parent, how that would feel for Sophie. She's sitting there, watching these kids she's raised step into such a serious role, and she's filled with pride. But also, a little bit of uncertainty. Let's be real. When your kids have a big moment, you're proud, but you're also kind of thinking, are they ready for this? Sophie herself admitted she wasn't sure at first if it was the right time for James, her youngest, to take part in the vigil. You see, James is a bit younger than his cousins, and as much as we love our kids, we know that sometimes the bigger, more serious things can seem like too much for them. But James, ever the eager soul, wasn't about to let age stop him from being part of this historic event. He was ready, no questions asked. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to honor their grandmother in a moment like that? Talk about making memories, right? But here's the thing. While Sophie might have had her doubts at first, she came to realize just how important this moment was for her children. This wasn't just about the formality of the royal family. This was about creating a legacy, a bond between the grandchildren and their grandmother that would last forever. And let's not forget, this was a time of transition for the royal family, with Queen Elizabeth passing away and King Charles III stepping into the throne. For Lady Louise and James, this was their moment to step into roles they had never truly imagined for themselves. They were no longer just the younger members of the family. They were now part of the new generation of royals who would carry on their family's traditions and values. Sophie was particularly moved by how her children handled the situation. It was emotional for her to see them so dignified, standing by their grandmother's casket, paying their respects. There's something about seeing your kids grow up and take on such a mature role that hits you right in the feels. And Sophie wasn't shy about expressing her pride, saying she was incredibly moved by the whole experience. But what's really touching here is how Sophie described the moment of reflection. It wasn't just about the ceremony. It was about honoring the Queen in the most personal way possible. Sophie wanted her children to feel like they had done something meaningful, something that would stick with them for the rest of their lives. And in many ways, it's clear that they did. It wasn't just a public duty. It was a personal moment of remembrance and respect. Now you might be wondering, what does all this say about Sophie as a mother? Well, it says a lot, actually. As a parent, Sophie has always been protective of her children, keeping them out of the public eye as much as possible. But in this moment, she saw the significance of letting them step up. It wasn't just about the royal family. It was about her kids having the opportunity to grow, to step into their roles, and to honor their grandmother in their own way. And Sophie, as any parent would, was there to support them every step of the way. I know what you're probably thinking. This is all very emotional and touching, but let's be real for a second. These royals, they're not just regular people. They have a whole lot of history, tradition, and expectations on their shoulders. So the fact that James and Louise, two relatively younger members of the royal family, stepped up and handled themselves with such grace and dignity, that's something worth celebrating. I mean, can you imagine the pressure they must have been under? It's not like they could just be like, I'm not feeling it today, I think I'll skip the vigil. Nope, they had to show up and show out, and they did it like true professionals. And then there's Sophie, watching from the sidelines, no doubt with a proud smile on her face, while also holding back a few tears. I mean, come on, it's like watching your kids graduate or get their first job. There's that moment where you realize, wow, they're really growing up, and it's equal parts joy and heartbreak. But Sophie didn't just sit back and let the moment pass by. She took it all in and reflected on what this meant for her family. It wasn't just about the ceremony. It was about the personal connection to the Queen and the role her children would play in carrying on her legacy. This moment for Sophie was, in a sense, a rite of passage for both her and her children. It's a reminder that while the royal family is full of tradition and grand gestures, it's the personal moments like these that truly leave an impact. Sophie, Lady Louise, and James were all part of a historic moment that will be remembered for years to come. And Sophie was lucky enough to witness her children taking on their royal responsibilities with grace and poise. So, what can we take away from all of this? Well, for starters, it's a reminder that even in the world of royalty, family bonds are what truly matter. It's easy to get caught up in the headlines and the pageantry, but at the end of the day, it's moments like these that show the human side of royalty. Sophie's emotional reflection on her children's participation in the Queen's Vigil is a testament to how important family, love, and respect are in the royal household. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's something worth celebrating. So, if you're a fan of royal stories like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more. And if you want to share your thoughts or feelings on this story, drop a comment below. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for tuning into Throne Talk. Until next time, stay royal, my friends.